Hello and welcome to the FX debates here in London at the British Museum. With me is Mr. Valentin Marinov, who is head of European G10 FX Strategy at CitiFX. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Let me ask you first about the current monetary policy. Is it adequate according to you?
I think that the current monetary system is adequate, although some improvements may be needed. When the Bretton Woods system of fixed exchange rate was replaced with a system of floating exchange rates in the 70s, the idea was to make exchange rates better able to reflect the relative fundamentals of the economies. And that was working to a degree. The problem was that currencies like the dollar served as a reserve currency of choice as well, which meant that there was a pent-up demand for dollars, which effectively prevented the dollar from depreciating sufficiently so that it could help the rebalancing of the US economy. One way to really deal with that is really to introduce a system of competing reserve currencies, if you wish, or multi-reserve currencies, and I think that that could be lying ahead.
And do you think the ECB is doing enough to help growth in the Eurozone? Could it do more?
Well, whether the ECB could do more to really stimulate growth in the Eurozone, I think the answer is yes. Many people would argue that their mandate, where they really have to focus on targeting inflation, is rather restrictive. I would disagree. Time and time again, the ECB has shown in the past that if needed, they could indeed adopt measures that are not necessarily affecting the inflation outlook for the Eurozone, but could presumably be related to their mandate. The first such example would be the LTRO, where the ECB was arguing that the problems in the banking sector were really preventing or really just making the the problems in the banking funding sector in the Eurozone really led to a more difficult transmission of monetary policy stimulus to the real economy. So hence the attempt there was really to fix that problem by announcing the LTRO. The second situation was the introduction of the outright monetary transactions. The idea, really, the OMT program was meant to really reduce the selling pressure in the sovereign debt markets in the Eurozone periphery. Really, the ECB was using the same argument. The fact that the tensions in the sovereign debt markets was effectively stopping or really just was hampering the monetary transmission mechanism. And last but not least, in February, the ECB quite elegantly really tied the latest, or back then, the euro gains, the euro appreciation, to the inflation outlook for the Eurozone, with President Draghi indicating that further excessive currency appreciation could dampen the inflation outlook for the Eurozone and hence could lead to more monetary easing. So I think the ECB could do more, and their mandate need not be necessarily seen as excessively really just constraining their ability to respond to negative real economy shocks. As a House, we think that there will be 2 more rate cuts from the ECB to come, and we think that this will likely add to the cyclical headwinds for the euro, with euro depreciating across the board on the back of that.
Okay, so we're talking rate cuts in Europe, but meanwhile in the US people are actually talking about the Fed raising interest rates.
Well, the speculation that the Fed will be exiting QE really anytime soon have indeed intensified. Market is looking for diminished amount of Fed asset purchases in the second half of the year. As a House, we think that the Fed will exit QE early next year. The anticipation of less QE down the road is clearly supportive of the dollar, but the dollar is also supported by the resilient economic fundamentals in the US. Really, the fact that the labor market conditions are improving, that the housing market has rebounded and now growing, all that really encouraging more bets really on further dollar strength across the board. We are constructive on the dollar. We think that that'll be the outperformer among G4. Really, we did see that already in the case of dollar yen printing fresh multi-year highs and cable sterling dollar printing fresh multi-year lows. I suspect that euro dollar could be joining sterling dollar before long, really heading lower as well. Effectively, the diverging cyclical outlook between the Fed and the ECB will likely support dollar also against the euro.
Mr. Marinov, thank you very much.